think the Bronx stands out from other boroughs due to its rawness. It is raw in culture because people are moving in and out like constantly. It's raw in ideas. It's raw in the way it's moving right now. I think that a lot of other boroughs, even though they're changing, they're still quite established in their feel, vibe, nature. Brooklyn, has a very similar demographic to the Bronx, and Brooklyn is changing, but at the same time, each part of Brooklyn is quite distinct and rooted, and you can tell when you look around, when you like even just look at the infrastructure of like Brooklyn. You have old bicycle awnings, like bike awnings for the bicycle shop that has been there for like years, and textile, places and whatnot. There's just a historic element to Brooklyn that I feel like the Bronx has, but like in a sense, the Bronx has not lost that rawness in which it's like constantly changing, like year after year. So I think rawness is what makes the Bronx unique, and because of that, I feel like it's kind of safe. That keeps it safer than a lot of our other boroughs. I feel like when real estate companies look at the boroughs and they look at the established nature of Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island, even though they've been there like once, um, they they easily see the puzzle, what they can pick up, move, place, etc. For the Bronx, it's not really a puzzle. It's like a freestyle Lego kit, and it's always kind of moving and changing. And I feel like real estate can't really like get their minds around that. Real estate, I believe, has a harder challenge in terms of establishing themselves in the Bronx in the way that they have in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and the rest of New York City, because since the Bronx has that raw factor, they can't really put their minds around how they're going to pick up one area and place another sort of people or this and that. So I think that it's going to take a lot longer for them to move into the Bronx. I think that they're going to analyze certain areas such as like the South Bronx, figure out the flow, and then mark their territory in a sense, and they're going to maybe move in different areas. But I think that the Bronx, just by nature, will resist a lot of that. I think slowing gentrification. My first answer is more community-driven events and community gatherings, so people can talk about how to take control over their area. I've was privileged to like attend a event in Queens, South Side Queens, somewhere, I don't even know really where, but it's called the South Side Thrives. That was the community, and they invited everybody from the area to like talk about what's happening and how can they have more control over the direction of their neighborhood. So one of the things they spoke about is like the arrival of Subway and Starbucks and different retail stores. What is that doing for our area, and how can we support local businesses and found more local businesses so that our identity remains, so that the fact that our area is the most diverse place in the world on earth is noticeable, and it's not just a lot of like cut and paste McDonald's, Starbucks, etc. I think that is one way in which like gentrification can be slowed or in a sense balanced. I feel like Brooklyn has done that, like especially the Caribbean population. There's parts of like Brooklyn that I feel like will always be Caribbean or have been barriers to gentrification because there have been like people there own the businesses. And of course, like that's the obvious answer, like own the business, like but I think that goes against like community, family. That's the reason why they own a lot. Then you have the Jamaican population. I mean, the Jewish population, which has the same sort of effect. Like if you go along Kingston Avenue, nothing but Jewish owned stores and businesses, to the point where like they don't have to leave Kingston Avenue to get what they need. Like their economy is on Kingston Avenue and Crown Heights. We need the same sorts of things in the Bronx, and it's possible, but we need to start talking, collectively about how to do that. And I think that there have been attempts to do that, to create conversation in the Bronx. The Bronx itself is like a brand name now. People are using it everywhere.
Bronxer.
The Bronxer, yep. Shout out to him, the Bronxer. On the way here, I saw like a real estate sign that said, "How do you Bronx?" Like, so it's a verb now. I saw it outside of the postal office. People are trying. Like, Bronx Vignettes, like, it's a brand. It's a brand name. So people are trying to talk about, like, what does it mean to be of the Bronx? What does the Bronx mean? How do we start framing conversations around progress in the Bronx? So people are trying. It's cool, I think that brand has kind of always existed. People say like every borough has a brand, really, but like I think people link the Bronx to like grit, hustle, and street smart, and they're very proud of that. But yeah, to answer your question, I think we should just start talking to each other, like planning how to have more control over our